If you grew up in a time when parents allowed you to spend time outdoors, get dirty, and climb trees, then you will love our guest today. He is a father who believes in more than letting his kids play outside. His son set a world record in mountain climbing when Sam Adventure, and yes, that is really his middle name, Evermore climbed El Capitan, the tallest sheer wall in North America at only 8 years old. Please give a warm and brave, counterculture-wise welcome to Mr. Joe Evermore. Woo!
Hey,
All
thank you.
right.
It's good to be here.
You bet. It's good to see you too, all in one piece and everything. So we haven't fallen down any sheer mountains. That's good.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, Joe, I want to give you a chance to start out and tell everybody where they can find you and maybe even what you're up to these days.
Yeah, if you want to find us, it's you gotta follow my son Sam. He's the one who's really getting famous here quick, and just look up Samuel Adventure on Instagram or on Facebook.
Samuel Adventure. Okay. And we, of course, will have all of the links up on our website, counterculturewise.com, as well as both the audio and video version of this interview. If you are watching this live, drop everything, hit like, share, subscribe, share with everybody. Give us a 200,000 star review. If you're not enjoying yourself, just give us 5 stars. That's insulting enough. 5 is good. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to start out Sam Adventure. We got Joey Danger, I guess, is the middle child. Third child's name, Lars Couch Potato, maybe?
You see, it's Samuel Adventure, Sylvan Lightyear, then Joey Danger.
Sylvan Lightyear. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. You have beautiful. So much fun with your kids' names. I love it.
I know.
Okay, so that's why you call him Silly. Okay, I was wondering why you were calling him. I'm like, is that his middle name, Silly? Sylvan Lightyear. Okay, so he was named after an adventurer, a cartoon adventurer.
No. I think the Lord is just telling us that he was going to be on a really big scale, and a light year is 6 trillion miles, and so
that's true.
That is a big scale.
It's about as big as measurement as there is. So we went with that.
Well, let's just cruise right on into this. Your message basically is enough with the bubble wrap already. You know, let's let kids be kids, and then you just took it up to 11.
You took it to the quantum level. I'm telling you, that's amazing.
It's true.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your parenting style and what got you guys into mountain climbing with the little ones.
Yeah. So really, we didn't have it figured out at the beginning. We were just climbers that had begun to have kids, and we didn't know what to do with them. And so we began to put them in a backpack, you know, the little carriers, and take them up these mountains. And, you know, and we'd have them clipped in and on a little ledge with a few little toys, and kind of work their way up these mountains with us. And pretty much before Sam could even walk, he was already summiting mountains. And as soon as he could, you know, start climbing, he was, you know, a champ. And, you know, we just kept bringing him with us. We didn't know what else to do. And what we learned was instead of climbing really be this singular sport, it was really became a family sport for us. And even today, you know, after we get off here, I'm going climbing at the Garden of the Gods with the boys. So
oh wow,
fantastic.
Regular,
so mom climbs too?
Oh yeah, she's climbing. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, all the videos just had her at the bottom, and I'm like, I could not be that mom watching my baby climb up the mountain. I don't know how she does it. So she's a climber too. Very
she
cool.
has a support role in everything we were doing. And so one of the mountains we climbed this summer called Pingora, we took our Joey Danger up, and so that was his first big mountain at 5, and Anne climbed it with us fully pregnant, and so it was
oh wow.
Yeah,
so you've got a 4th on the way?
Yeah, we got yep, and and of course it's another boy. So
oh wow,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really shoot the old boy juice there. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Keep going. You'll get yourself a baseball team.
This is going to turn into a reality show for very long.
Yeah. Have a baseball team.
That's amazing.
That would be fun to watch you guys like toss baseballs while you're hanging off a cliff or something like that.
It's possible. Yeah, we do things like that sometimes.
Are you going to keep trying until you get a girl?
Well, you know, what I've realized is that's in the CFO's department. And so we'll have to see how Anne feels after this next baby. So
I don't blame her at all. Wow.
It's okay to feel bad for her.
4 boys, 4 boys. Yeah, it is a lot of testosterone in one household.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. She's got to be just absolutely everything you could possibly want in a human being. I mean, she's got to have 50 arms and the patience of Job and a mind that just cracks on every cylinder. I can't even imagine what that woman is juggling at any given moment. So what a trooper she is. She needs to write her own book and have her own series. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that should be the reality show, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, especially when they're all literally climbing the walls. I mean, you hear moms coming home and saying, "Oh my God, the kids were climbing the walls," but no, your kids are literally climbing the walls. Our oldest one, he like the main climber, or the youngest one's kind of coming up with him? Was this his idea? I mean, how did this whole thing get started?
Yeah, so in our home, we made this decision kind of early, that we'd set one goal for each kid each year, and we have a set of rules. And so one of the rules, we have 3 rules for our goals. First rule is that it's got to be so big and so hard that it seems impossible enough that you work on it a little bit every day. So that's rule number 1.
Okay.
Rule number 2 is that it's got to be really visual. So we try to pick things that we can really put on the wall. Like we have, a whole section of our home that showcases our goals.
Mm-hmm.
And we always try to pick things too that like kind of allow that mountain to kind of like set a record if possible. And that's why we started going after these youngest ascents.
Mm-hmm.
And then rule number 3 is you can't die. So
okay. I
yeah,
appreciate that one. So
Yeah.
no getting eaten by sharks or anything like. Okay.
So you just
All
got to
right.
remember, it's hard, it's got to be visual, and you can't die.
And the kids get to pick it. So do they come in and
not
say
yet. No,
not yet?
not
Oh,
yet.
okay. All right. So you pick it
that's
and the kids, do they okay it? I mean, how does that
Yeah,
work?
of course. I mean, when they get to the bottom of the mountain, they make the decision to do it. And so, but they're just not at a place yet to do that.
Right.
Sam's 10,
Yeah.
And this last summer, we had a phenomenal time, me and him trying to climb the Matterhorn in Switzerland, which was a big, huge endeavor. But we missed the summit by about 1,200 feet and missed a cutoff time. And it was a pretty hard moment for us to turn back. But we only missed the cutoff time by a few minutes. But one of the next lessons I'm really trying to teach Sam is he's already really beginning to form self-mastery in his life.
Mm-hmm.
But next, he's really got to build a bit of humility and respect. And it was a hard decision to turn around on the mountain and turn back when on a perfect day. But there
was rule number 3. So
rule number 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, for us plebs who only know, you hear Everest, it gets all the love. Tell me a little bit about the Matterhorn and why that is such a big goal. Other than the dangerous winds. That's I mean, because I hear Matterhorn, I think of the ride, so I don't know anything about the actual mountain.
Well, first of all, the Matterhorn is one of the most captivating mountains in the whole world. It is the most famous mountain in the world. We think of Everest in the U.S. as the most famous mountain, but everyone else in the world thinks of the Matterhorn as the most famous mountain.
Okay, so it's a cultural thing as well.
But when you see it, it almost has like this magic over you. It really is this mountain that just captivates you. You can't stop looking at it. It's the most rad, it's just such a spectacular thing to
it really
want
is beautiful. You're right. It is absolutely beautiful.
I mean, this is on every Disney logo. This is on there's a chocolate company.
Toblerone,
yeah. Toblerone, Paramount Pictures. Yeah, it's
Once you see the Matterhorn, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that mountain everywhere.
Yeah, I just didn't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the mountain of all mountains to climb, and it was up for youngest ascent. Sam still has another shot at it and getting the youngest ascent next summer, and that's a big deal.
Everest looks kind of wimpy next to it. It might be taller, but it's a little bit slopier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not going to get any Secret Service agents on the Matterhorn, that's for sure. Too much of a slope, slanted roof. Yeah.
It is also a mountain that's killed a lot of people.
I bet.
It's even on its first ascent, it was first ascended by a team of 6, and only I think 2 of them made it down alive. So wow. 6 made it to the summit, and then 2 made it back to the Zermatt, and the rest perished on the way down. Which is, that mountain kills you on the way down. So it's
really, so you think once you got up there, you're in the clear, but it gets you on the way down?
Yeah, the 3 climbers that died a week after us died on the way down. It's descending that mountain that kills you because you're most exhausted on the descent. You're in the worst weather if you get the weather windows wrong, and the whole top of the mountain is broken. So if you get off route on that mountain, you're in deep trouble. Like it's just everything's gonna break off, and you're gonna fall thousands of feet. So it's. And if you don't know that,
and you want to take your 10-year-old up there, you freak. I'm gonna call CPS. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can't just get on a toboggan and call it a day. Just head on down. You gotta painstakingly.
In another way, it's actually the very easy to climb. Like the grade is 5'6". So like if you know anything about climbing grades, like Sam climbs up to 5'12" in a rock gym. Like he can climb significantly harder things than the Matterhorn, but it's about all those other elements that make it so extraordinary and difficult.
Is Everest like a cliche at this point, or is it still a bucket list thing?
It's still a big deal. It's not a big deal in our home yet, but Sam's talked about it a couple times, but I don't know if we'll do that or not. But yeah, Everest is similar to this. Like anytime you miss a cutoff on a mountain like this, your likelihood of dying on that mountain goes up like 10 times.
Right, exactly.
Right. You got to hit it just the right time. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially on this mountain, this particular mountain at 10 o'clock in the morning on an average day, you can't even fly a kite. Whereas at 2 or 3 o'clock on the average day, it's like a whiteout and like an 80-mile-an-hour wind. Yikes. And so it's a different mountain at a different time. And then you also run into a constriction where all the people that did summit on time are now coming down on, through this constriction where we're coming up. And so there's a few different, that creates a lot of risk for rock fall on you.
Right.
Okay. I've never thought of that.
Which makes sense.
Which will kill you in an instant on a mountain like this. So we made a decision, that we just missed it by a few minutes, and I said we missed it. And I had a hard time too making the decision.
Undoubtedly.
Of course, the travel and the expense and having to come back. But that's the thing, though. You want to come back. Period.
Exactly. Yeah. And I want Sam to respect the mountain in the future too. Like I want him. I had to check myself. Is this about my ego or is this about me parenting Sam? Because in 5 years he's going to summit a mountain and hit a cutoff time, on his own. And
then he has to decide.
I would prefer that he made the right decision on that and made the best decision on that, and climbed another day.
And that's the thing about mountain climbing is if you die on the mountain, you don't really die a hero. People say, "Oh, what an idiot!"
Not if you break all the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So people don't look at you and say, "Oh, that's not a thing." But, I mean, if you run into a burning building and save a basket of puppies or a baby and die, then people, "Oh, what a hero!" and this and that. Even if it was dumb, you still get the hero's welcome. But just climbing a mountain because it's there, that's a very personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a week after our ascent, 3 climbers on the exact same route who shouldn't have been up there blew through the cutoff times, and all 3 of them perished on the mountain.
See, that's tragic. Yeah. That's just tragic.
Yeah, you gotta. That I can't even imagine.
And that's basically suiciding yourself. That's if you know and you're aware, and that's the thing. What I've seen from all of your videos, the safety gear is insane, and you obviously do all of your homework and
do the precautions. You build you build the foundation first.
Okay, now I've got
that's what's so important to understand too, because it's like whenever people find out that they're rock climbing, like, oh, I know somebody that died rock climbing, or I know something that happened rock climbing, and it's kind of like let's say there's a road near your house where there was some car accidents. It's like it's like, yeah, there were car accidents on that road, but would you still drive on that road? Well, yeah, you would, because you might be comparing someone who is driving like 150 miles an hour,
or driving drunk, or
driving drunk with
yourself,
Yeah. And it's like, that's really what we're comparing here. Like now, in climbing, every once in a while, there is a God accident where like rock collapses, or you just get smashed in an avalanche. Like that happens, but it's actually remarkably rare. We're talking like there's like 30 climbers a year that die, and a high percentage of them are either like doing things that are like really, really hard, pushing the edge of the sport and dangerous, or they're the people that really have no idea what they're doing and they're in the mountains. It's, we're doing everything in the safest possible way. And so it's like, we're like, think of us as like the slowest, most cautious driver on the road, and,
but you're still driving in the Indy 500. So
I'll give you that. I mean, it looks a lot scarier than it is, but yeah.
Says you. I was watching that rope swing and I'm like, and I'm not even afraid of heights. And I'm like, nope. Yeah. I'm more of a water person. So I do that above water, maybe. Of course, the water would be like cement by the time you hit it from that height. But yeah, I was looking at that thing and the little bitty one was like, let's do this. And off he went. I mean, fearless kids. That's awesome. So what happens if, your youngest one says, yeah, Dad, I just really want to, I don't know, train dogs for the blind or something. I'm not interested in mountain climbing. I mean, how do you get them? And what if, are you open to other dangerous things, windsurfing or parachuting or?
Yeah, well, so first of all, like it's a culture within our family. So it's like, I feel like one of my goals as a parent is to help each kid find that superpower. And I accept that, like climbing might not be their like main thing at some point, but it's part of our family. It's literally how we parent and how we relate. It would be like, what if there are times that my kid doesn't want to go to school or doesn't want to do his homework.
The basic child stuff.
It's like rock climbing is actually part of the DNA of our family. So it's not like, he's not into rock climbing at all. Like I can't even imagine that. Climbing is something that children naturally do. It's actually something that they unlearn, throughout their life. Like, unless you parent it. So one of the rules in our home is that we ask our kids to climb something every day. And that's a rule. Well, we have a set of rules in our homes. That's one of our top rules. We're building that culture within our family. And the other thing to think about too is like, this is literally how we parent. Level 1, which I'm working on with Sylvan and Joey right now, is all about self-regulation. It's like helping them overcome their emotion and like push through when their body is freaking out and exploding, as every kid has to do. But we just do that at a really early age when they're hanging off of ropes.
Could you come work on my husband with that? That'd be great.
No comment.
He explodes every once in a while. But like self-regulation is level 1. And it's like, once we get through that, then we can start building self-discipline. And the self-disciplines come on that foundation of self-regulation. And it's like, and one of those self-disciplines is courage. And as they begin to find courage, which courage isn't not having fear, courage is having tremendous fear and pushing through it.
Exactly.
And then once you have that, then you begin to build self-confidence. It's like we say clarity brings confidence, and confidence is what brings courage. And so like there's this connection between courage and confidence that's really important. And and then the next layer for Sam is self-mastery. That's where we begin to see him like own these things, and like he's now daily like working on himself. He realizes that he needs certain things, and like he doesn't have to be coerced to kind of train. He wants it now. And so that's like a really exciting next step. And he did this crazy climb called the Dangler, which if I showed you a picture of it, you'd think I was nuts. But
I think I have that picture in your press kit where he's hanging by his fingertips.
Yes.
Just dangling there. Yeah.
That's the Dangler. Yeah. And he did that, and he did that.
Wow.
That picture has him on top rope, but he led the route. So he put in the gear and did the route on lead, which is really a bold thing for a 9-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
And so you can see that we parent in this way.
Right.
Yeah. And you kind of double dipped with Sam, and I have a unique perspective on this. Climbing mountains, Pshaw. The kid is a public speaker, and that is human beings' number one fear. And they fear it more than death. So this kid is seriously brave, and I don't think a lot of people recognize. They're like, oh wow, mountain climbing, this and that. Yeah, danger, ropes, the whole bit. Have you seen this kid articulate in front of an audience? I mean, good Lord. I think it was Seinfeld who said, most people when they have to deliver a eulogy would rather be in the box instead of in front of it. And watching him speak as if, that's just something he's always done, that itself is a skill. So he's got, when you talk about bravery, you've really crossed a threshold here, both in the climbing and for him to look a camera in the lens and speak. And even if it's prepared, that's something 99.9% of the planet cannot do. So this kid has already developed. He's only 10 years old. He's already got a skill set that most people aspire to for their entire life. So good on you.
They aspire to it, and they think about how that would be really nice if they did that.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between that and what you and your son and your sons are accomplishing.
Yeah.
It's admirable, to put it mildly. That's going to create a special bond between you and them for life that the rest of us, we have good relationships with our family perhaps, but it's not going to be at that same kind of, it's going to be at a unique level with you folks.
Well, it's almost cellular. I mean, like you said, it's part of your culture in your family. And
that's,
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And it sets him up for success because, he's not going to have to read Napoleon Hill books in his 20s to get a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Because he's literally conquered mountains and he's not even a teenager yet. Exactly. So it's mind blowing.
But okay, so here's the opposite side of that. When you have conquered such huge undertakings, if he comes home with an F in math, he's going to be like, that's nothing. How are you going to cultivate the aspect of, okay, but you've also got to succeed at these mundane, everyday things that the rest of the world expects?
Yeah, well, we're right in this stage. So right now it's self-mastery. The next stage that we kind of, Ann and I are really talking about is self-surrender and really beginning to understand humility and understanding some of these other virtues that we want to build into the kids. And we use climbing in the same way to develop those as well. But we want Sam to approach everything with excellence and to say, I'm going to get it done. He's got a little chicken business where he has sold all the neighbors on subscription to buy his eggs and deliver his eggs to them all. And we definitely challenge Sam in all of the areas of his life to be the best he can. And so does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love the idea that he is also in business and hopefully learning savings and all the things that go with managing money and things like that. Little Jag, I just want to let you know we can do on our show. I wore my Faith Over Fear shirt in your honor. I know a lot of the mainstream stuff you don't get to talk about faith. We talk about faith on our podcast, so feel free to bring that up. I got just a tiny little sense that is a part of your life, which I think is fantastic. And I think is why you're so successful on top of everything else that you've done. So feel free to bring that in as well.
Once again, when it comes to faith, it's like every major developed character in the Bible climbed mountains. They're all mountaineers.
Yeah. Literally.
And,
yeah.
There's something really unique and special about somebody to mountain. It nothing puts you more in touch with your mortality. Nothing presents more of the creation than climbing mountains. And it's a very holy and special thing that, more Christians need to do.
It's funny because you hear about the story of Moses climbing the mountain to talk to God, and they always have this old decrepit man with a cane and he's wearing robes and sandals. Like, no, I'm pretty sure he was actually climbing a mountain because he was gone for days and days at a time. You know, and I always thought that was kind of funny because that's, you know, just like
he's just walking up some stairs or something.
Yeah, he just went around the corner, you know. It's like, no, he was actually summiting a mountain and talking to him, and that I can see where you know, you would almost kind of feel closer to God. That's where I feel closest, is out in the woods. And it's not because that's where he is, because he's everywhere, but that's where you feel that connection. And the physical exertion is part of that. You know, you're getting beyond the physicality and more into the spirituality. Do you sense that, and do you feel that Sam senses that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, he recently he bought a few books just recently, and I didn't have any like say in what the books he bought, and all of them were like devotion books, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, yeah, over things like Harry Potter and all that. Like he chose those, and so he's really starting to ask the right questions and want to develop his, you know, his faith and have a relationship with God. So I see that developing. It's cool.
That is awesome. You got to love a kid who starts his own business and buys books with the money. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I bought candy. Yeah. That's fantastic. Okay, so as a parent, I mean, I know you're fearless, but have you ever had moments of fear watching your children? Yeah.
So we were climbing a route called Petit Grapan, and it was in Estes Park. It's a massive mountain. It's definitely this is a major youngest ascent to do. No one would believe that I would take Sam at the age we took him up there. He was 7, and what happened was we were on a ledge, and this goat showed up, and the goat was like really friendly. It would want to stand like 10 feet away from me. And we thought it was just kind of a funny thing, you know. And so we kept climbing, and this goat just followed us up the wall, and it was so bizarre. Like I couldn't believe how hard the like the climbing that the goat could do.
Yeah.
And like and it's always on hooves, so you feel like it's coming off any second because
right.
like
They're amazing. The yeah, I don't know how they do that.
It's so amazing. So we get on this giant ledge. And because the ledge is so wide and so the route, I go up this section of the rock, but then you go across the ledge, then go up the next section of the rock. Does that make sense? And so, and so because the ledge was so wide, I let Sam just walk across this ledge to the other beginning of the next section of the climb. And that's about 100 foot across. Mm-hmm. And he had a rope on him the whole way, but it wasn't attached to the wall anywhere but where I was at the top of the last pitch. And somehow this goat gets between me and Sam and gets tangled in the rope.
Oh.
Yes. And as soon as the animal gets tangled, it thinks we're like trapping it.
Of course, it freaks out, yeah.
And it just bolts across this ledge, dragging my son, you know, at high speed across this ledge.
Oh my gosh.
And if he falls off the front of it, he's got 100 feet of line out, and he's going to just, you know, cheese grate himself on the front of the rock, you know. It would be devastating. And
then you've got to hold him and a goat.
Yeah.
That sounds like the name of a beer line, Hold Your Goat.
Well, there was another climber that like dive tackled Sam into a bush and held him down like before he went over the edge.
Oh, thank God.
And that created enough rope tension for the goat to kind of break free. The goat almost went off the cliff too. It was like,
oh no.
It was a drama that unfolded. And that was our one really scary heartbreak, or like, I mean, it was scary of what happened. And it was
so random.
That's so random. It is so random, yeah.
And here's a goat.
Yeah. Here, have a goat. Well, now we can officially say that Sam is always cool under pressure. Nothing gets his goat.
Yeah.
They don't get any better.
They don't.
Wow. Yeah. So how did he feel about that whole situation?
I don't feel like he fully comprehended the danger he was in at 7. He just fully didn't comprehend really what would happen if he went over the front of that wall. Because he was clipped in. He was on a rope, but it would have it would have been, we would have left in a chopper for sure had he come off that wall.
Wow.
So,
Well, that kind of leads us to another question. I mean, young kids are fearless. I mean, they'll jump off of roofs thinking they're Superman. How do you balance that kind of dumb kiddedness with literally doing things that are deathly and dangerous and things like that?
You're right, because I do definitely take that up a notch too. Like our kids have a playground in our backyard that takes them up 40, 50 feet into our trees. It's like that we've built, all these.
I was going to ask about that. I had an idea there was something pretty fun going on in the backyard.
We have a whole series of nets that we've woven that draw you way up into the trees. We even have a hanging tent that's about 50 feet up. And then these kids know how to use ascenders and climb ropes. And so there's all these ropes on trees, and they're always swinging from lines in the trees. Like, I'm always training them in this. And so it is kind of like take it up a big notch. And so what's important is that there's like these basic foundations of, like, for instance, in the foundations is that we always are clipped in. It's like when you exchange sometimes from one system to the next, you connect to the new one, then you disconnect the old one. And that's a pattern that everyone in the family develops at the age of like 5 or 6, where we really begin to instill these like very core, climbing tenets, that then are the same on the big wall. On the wall, it's like you're never like, oh, I'm just unclipped and then clip back in. Like you're going from one system to the next.
Right.
In a very controlled order. You
never know when a goat's going to jump in the mix, so you want to make sure you always
the goat threw everything off. There's nothing in our training to ever prepare for that, nor will that ever happen again. So
you don't know that, though. I'd be prepared. Goats,
the odds are incredibly
Yetis.
small.
I'd be prepared for anything at this point.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to many climbers about the goat situation, and they're like, "Wow, I never even heard of that either." No one's ever gotten yanked off the mountain by a goat. So
there's always the first time. There's always a first time. Yeah.
Well,
at least then you'd go down in history. You definitely have signed the book there.
So I have a question. How do you respond to other parents who react with shock and maybe a little bit of disdain at what you're doing? I mean, we think it's fantastic. My dad never would have done anything like that.
Yeah, but we're talking about the peanut allergy safe space room.
But not even that. Just I don't want to say normal, but your average parent.
Mainstream. Let's use the word mainstream.
Parent. Let's use that term, mainstream. When you're met with that kind of a reaction, and I know that has to happen from time to time, what is your I won't say defense, but what is your how do you respond? I guess would be the best.
Well, first of all, James, it's far worse than you can imagine. Actually, it's
really
we've got people like calling CPS on us because not only have we done this stuff, do we do this stuff, we publish it, we put it in videos, put it online. It's
right.
And so they're calling you grifters, and
we want to inspire other people too.
Right. That's the whole reason.
I honestly am trying to like push the envelope and get more parents out there. Take your kids camping, get them out of their comfort zone. Like, this is when you're really parenting, like, at its best. And
right.
And so because of that, there are people that are really upset at what we're doing. I'm coming to a place with a lot more grace for them, to be honest.
Sure.
They don't understand. They don't have a clue what we're doing. You can tell that, like, parenting in a lot of ways, like, we all have our idols. Everyone has these idols. And for a lot of people, safety is this idol that they bow to. And it's above everything else. And, we kind of say we put safety third, it's our third rule. And so,
yeah, but don't die is a pretty substantial rule.
Exactly. And so safety is incredibly important to our family, but it's not like an idol that we are going to bow to, because there's things that are more important in our parenting than everything being as safe as humanly possible. Like, if safety was the idol and we were really true to it, we would never put a kid in an automobile. We would never do
Yeah,
that.
Right.
exactly.
It's the
Wouldn't
most,
let them out the door.
it's the most likely way they're
Yeah.
going to die is in a car crash.
Right.
And certainly we wouldn't let them play football, or tackle football,
Right.
and you start looking at the statistics of what kills kids, like things like choking and falling into a pool and, and like drowning, like there's not even a statistic on the amount of kids who've died climbing because there aren't any. Like
Right.
it's actually incredibly safe. Go back to my analogy of, there are people that die on the road, but a high percentage of them are drunk, or they're driving really fast, or they're driving really crazy. You know what I mean? It's like we're the safest climbers on the wall, and it's so important to understand that. But a lot of parents don't. A lot of people just see it. It looks scary. It looks high, and so these people must be reckless.
Right. And I can tell by all the safety gear and the practice and all that, that's completely safe for them. The chances of them getting hurt, like you said, in a car crash or some other normal way was going to be
kids
higher.
Trip and fall, or they stick a fork in a light socket. I mean, anything can go wrong at any time. You can't just stop living.
Right.
I feel like we've almost given permission as society to be fearful, which is the wrong way to go, especially in this country. And I think COVID really painted that darkly as people were willing to just give up everything to feel safe. It's like, okay, guys, we got to live, we can't just give up.
Right.
And I can see, parents, yes, your child is precious and absolutely protect your child. Do not put that child in the way of where they will be harmed, but don't wrap them, like you say, in bubble wrap and, keep them out of society altogether. You do have to.
At some point, you have to go out there, and deal with the realities of life. And I think your kids are going to be better prepared than 95% of the population when comes their time. And it's not going to be that long from now when they're going to be running things. And we need courageous people.
Well, you're also teaching them skills that transcend just the physicality of mountain climbing. You're teaching delayed gratification. You're teaching, like your kid has a business sense. You're teaching how to be prepared, how to plan. I mean, these are all things that they'll carry with them the rest of their lives. I wouldn't put it past them to become successful entrepreneurs and go forward with those skills. Absolutely.
I'm seeing public speaker. I'm seeing somebody.
It's
I'm
with
seeing
Sam
them,
for sure.
Traveling the country and doing
president. Let's do this. Let's do this.
I mean, you're right. It's true. They're beginning to build that inner strength, and you see it, and it's going to transform because, we think, people ask me like, are these boys going to be all rock climbers as their profession? And I'm like, kind of hope not. Yeah. Like it seems like kind of a small story, really. It doesn't. Most climbers don't serve others like I'd want my boys to.
Right.
But like what they will have is they're going to face something that's the size of El Capitan, and they're going to be like, I think I can figure this out. I think I can overcome this, and that's what I want for them.
Yeah. So have you ever done a climb where you planned it meticulously and then, I mean, I know when you did the big El Capitan that I guess the climbers above you lost their gear or something, and you had to take an entire extra day, which he was really cute about it because he said it and you could tell that he wanted to say it sucked, but he didn't. He controlled himself, and you did what you had to do. But have you ever had to just completely jag in a different direction? I know there's the one where you had to give up. Well, I not give up, but choose not to continue at that point, because there's a big difference there, because I know you haven't given up. But have you ever been in the middle of it and you've had to completely dogleg into a different plan?
Yeah, I mean, like the big that situation on El Capitan was a big deal. The climbers in front of us got a haul bag stuck on this flake, and it was actually like hanging, 200 feet right above us, which was very scary. It was like we were scared that they could cut the rope and drop this heavy bag on us. which would total our team. It'd be terrible. But we just kind of had to like stay out of the way of it. We couldn't follow them until they got that released, and that meant we had to climb through the night. That meant that Sam had to climb in the dark on El Capitan, which
is terrifying.
I mean, imagine looking down with a headlamp and just seeing all the light just be absorbed into darkness.
Yeah.
Like
one big nothing.
So why did you have to climb through the night? Why couldn't you just stay another day?
Like we needed to get to camp because the way we rigged the wall was that we had first descended the part of the wall and dropped a camp at a certain location. And so like there was resources that we needed to get to that were there. And so we could have camped where we were at, but it would have totally set us back to finishing this climb. And so it was, Sam was tired. Sam was exhausted. It was cold. And then the darkness is like it's like another level of fear.
I can't imagine spending the night on a mountain, much less climbing in the middle of the night.
That was something.
Yeah.
Because you can only see like 20 or 30 feet out, and then of the route, and everything else is, it's like a sea of darkness. It's really a
terrifying,
eerie thing to be on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I have a stupid non-climber question. How come you had to drag the stuff from the bottom up? Why couldn't you have people at the top lowering it to you?
Well, first of all, El Capitan is overhanging. So like if you want them to lower it to you, it takes multiple rappels. And we kind of actually did that by bringing that camp down from the top. That did lighten up our load from the bottom, but it, it's still, it's a haul of gear up. In just water, we had to manage like 200 pounds of water.
It's insane.
And so, yeah, you drink so much water when you're on these walls, and that's the worst possible situation is running out of water. Like you cannot run out of water.
And not to be vulgar or anything, but that's something only a boy could do, because I can't imagine having to go to the bathroom in the middle of a climb like that. How do you even
my wife does it.
That?
My wife does it just fine.
We'll have to talk about it offline. You'll have to explain it to me, because I'm going to need diagrams or something. So I find that fascinating that you can do that, because I know for me, the whole thing about, does the bear go in the woods? It's like, not if I can help it. I'll hold it.
Which would make it difficult if you're also climbing.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm sure there's a whole rig just for that.
Well,
anyway. I can only imagine.
Well, let's just say you don't have a lot of privacy, okay?
Yeah, that's another thing.
You make it quick and people look away. it's there's not a lot of,
it's
nowhere to go. There's no trees to hide behind. Or like if you got to take a Duke, you let your partner climb ahead, and then you're on the ledge doing it. Okay, so you don't have to do it right next to him.
Right. Always go downstream. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So what is next for Sam?
So we're still figuring it out whether we're going to do the Matterhorn next summer or whether we're going to try El Capitan again. We're still figuring that out. So when Sam climbed El Cap, it was a full rope ascent. It was the safest and easiest possible way. And really in climbing, a real ascent is going to be him using his hands on the rock and using like gear to work his way up the rock. And so we're heading in that direction. And so at some point he's going to do that.
That was impressive.
I've always wondered if there's like this kind of snooty thing between mountain climbers with their poles and their boots and the thing, and rock climbers with their gear and the crawling your way. When you see a group coming down a mountain, do you get kind of that walking through first class into coach kind of feeling? Is there any sort of clash between the two, or are y'all just one big happy family?
There's actually all sorts of like drama within the climbing community.
There's drama.
We've faced that. Honestly, whenever you do anything great, there's a lot of jealousy. especially in climbing, because climbing is kind of like, has always been kind of this like samurai sport where people do these like really dangerous, like almost like super risky things and then get zero recognition for it. Like they get, like no one knows like their name, and suddenly Sam got on every news station in the world, for climbing El Capitan as a rope ascent. And a lot of climbers were pissed off about that. They were so mad that he gets all this attention, and they don't get any attention, and he did it the easiest way. And I'm like, yeah, but he's 8. And like, that is like, and then all the reporters get everything wrong. They don't really know the language of climbing. So they say like, Sam free climbed El Capitan, and
he did not free climb. Nobody would do that.
They use the wrong terms. And,
yeah.
And so then the climbing community assumes that I like lied to them, because they use the wrong terms. And it's like, now it's like, these people don't even know what they're talking about, and there was a lot of upset climbers. There still are. There's a lot of people that think, Sam shouldn't have all this recognition and attention. But it's the other truth to it too is I'm really good at marketing, and really
I was just going to say you have a really good marketer, so that comes into play.
I'm the marketer.
In the end, it's not about self-aggrandizement after all. I mean, the whole you're doing this to make a point about, not setting. I mean, you're not setting silly limits on your kids, and this is my interpretation of everything that you've been doing as far as the marketing, and it is just to inspire other people. It's not to say, hey, look at us.
I mean, I would do this without the cameras, but I've realized that it's something our generation needs. It's something that needs to be told. Like, and because of that.
And those other climbers, I mean, like you said, you are your own marketer. Well, that is a skill in and of itself. And back to what I was saying at the beginning, the overcoming the fear of public speaking is as surmountable as a mountain. And these other climbers obviously haven't done that, because they could go out there and tell their story. They could get in front of cameras and do the same thing. A lot of people just say, well, I need to sit back and wait for them to come to me. Well, you didn't do that. And that's why you are getting the recognition you're getting. And they might not understand that. They think, well, if I just do something great, they're going to find me. That's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Or they think because we have all this attention, we cheated, somehow we and it's not fair. And
well, it's all on video, so it's not like you could hide it.
Well, they would take an awful lot of special effects and CGI money to fake that stuff.
Yeah.
But I wish these other climbers would reach out to me and be like, hey, I can help you with your PR. Like, I'd be glad to tell you how to do it and how to get attention. Like,
you think they would embrace it. You'd think they'd be like, hey, when I have kids, I want them to be like Sam. Or you think he would be kind of like a folk hero. He I don't know, mascot even.
Well, I want to say we have that too. We do have some of those out there, but it was amazing that how harsh the attack was on Sam. Like, and it was from a small amount of people that make a lot of noise, which is always
that's always the case.
Yeah. It's small, just like living in an HOA, it's like it's a small amount of people that make a lot of noise that really wreck it for, anybody that wants to stick out,
Yeah. So you said people will actually call CPS. So they're like, hey, this kid's climbing a mountain. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And what does CPS do? Like, okay, we got another Karen.
Nothing.
I mean, it's not like you're abusing them. It's not like you're forcing them.
But my risk is that at some point we will have an injury, on a mountain or something will happen. And it is a big fear. And that it makes me even take everything I do to another level, like of check, triple check, safety, I'm really conscious of that.
Sure.
But how would say like a twisted ankle or even a broken bone, falling off a mountain or having a rope accident be any different than slipping in the bathtub or tripping over the dog? I mean, you face those risks regardless.
Yeah.
There was a friend of mine who climbed Lost Arrow with me, and he brought his son with him, and we both slept on this I don't know if you saw Lost Arrow Spire, but it's one of the most the raddest things we did with our son. He did it at 6. he was actually jumping from one boat to another like a few weekends ago, and the guy hit the gas by accident when he jumped, and he jumped into the propeller and cut his feet to pieces. And it's like this guy has climbed all over the like some extraordinary things, like, and then bam, like who would have thought that accident could happen, you know?
Right.
And we don't know, like hopefully he'll be able to walk, you know, again. And we don't know, but like,
wow. Oh yeah.
The
I
climbing
think about
bit's
that
probably
accident,
over, but
it's like these things can happen
accident. Yeah.
anywhere. Like,
right.
Yeah.
they're actually much more likely to happen anywhere else but climbing. But the fact that we climb so much, yeah, there's a chance that my kid will drop a rock on me and, you know, and really injure me, you know? And so it's, that's something we face, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just, it's like you said, it's like anything else. Like there are accidents that happen when people play football or in gymnastics. It happens all the time. Like karate, there's like people that die every year in karate, way more than die rock climbing as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you consider everything that's come out with like child pageantry and, you know, you were mentioning gymnastics and all of that. Your kids are kind of safer up on a mountain from other people than a lot of these other kids.
I would argue that. I think that's true. I think like, so my brother, so here's a good one. You'll like this. My brother is into motocross and he has a boy named Emmett, and Emmett wins all these championships. And like, he launches these jumps. Like I like is sick to my stomach seeing this kid like 40 feet in the air, like on like this little kid on a motorbike. And I'm like,
there's no ropes, there's no pulleys.
That is the craziest thing I can even come up with. I'm like, we're not doing that, kids, you know? And so
I was going to ask you if there's a no-go zone as far as risk, and I think your brother found it.
I like, oh my gosh, Mike, this is too much. I can't take it. Like,
yeah, and he had to build up to that. I mean, you start like in gymnastics, you start with somersaults and you fall a lot and you crash a lot. I mean, how many times did this kid fall off his motorcycle or crash off and he's still going.
1,000 times. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what we all don't see. We all don't see the building up to it. We all don't see what it took to get Sam up El Capitan. That was many years and like thousands of hours of like intentional one-on-one face-to-face with Sam, working through him, like working on him, developing him. And all three boys are experiencing that.
Yeah. Every entertainer, every celebrity, everyone we've ever talked to or interviewed, we talk about the concept of, you know, working years and years and years and years to become an overnight sensation. You know, they only see what happens here, but it's like you don't see, you know, the iceberg of the work that we did. Yeah. So I can see where climbers who should know better would look at this kid and say, he's only getting attention because he's a kid. And it's like, dude, 2 years of training, 2 years of training.
And none of them have had kids. None of these people have kids.
That's
so
part
like,
of it too.
Right.
So they have really no clue what it means to get an 8-year-old up El Capitan. Like 8-year-olds can't tie their shoes. Like eight-year-olds like are most 8-year-olds haven't even entered the concept of really self-regulation yet. That's like where it begins. I had to start that at 5. Okay. Right. And like, it's like there's so much that they don't understand what it actually took to do that. And so they think, oh, this is nothing. He just climbed the ropes up El Capitan. They did it the easiest way.
It's like if you throw a kid at a mountain, he'll just suction cup to it and call it a day. Like they don't even understand the work that they themselves did. Right. I mean, I'm kind of blown away by that attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the hardest parts is that there's a whole section of the climbing community that just wants to cancel us. And you know, but honestly, the truth is that comes with everything. Have you guys ever heard of the incline here in Colorado Springs?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it? Okay. So it's like a set of stairs that go up a mountain, up Pikes Peak. And people come from all around the world to do it. Well, there's a woman who made it her goal to hike it more times than any woman ever has in a year. And it was like, I think she did it like 1,200 times or something like that, which means it takes like, most people, it takes them like 40 minutes to an hour per time. And to do that 1,000 times, like she has to do that every day, like 3 or 4 times a day on average, It's a massive, crazy goal. Well, there's another woman who was trying to do it too. And she was hundreds of reps behind her, the first woman. And so they get in this yelling match, and this other woman like files a restraining order on her and says that she threatened her life, so that now that woman she has to go walk up and down the thing at night, and like, but it's like, no matter what you do, there's someone out there to diminish you, to attack you, to destroy you. And I'm thinking, it is the most absurd thing in the world, first off, to walk up and down these steps 1,200 times in a year.
Yeah.
Like, that is so absurd,
the same thing over and over. Yeah, that's crazy.
How is there somebody out there that would attack that and diminish that and be ticked about it?
I just imagine what a great friendship they could have developed if they're like, hey, let's do this together.
Totally.
I mean, just imagine lifelong friends. They share the deepest secrets that, have, I mean, instead that it's a competition. It's
a lesson in human nature, though. It's so
totally normal. It is, definitely.
So totally do you shelter Sam from all of this, or are you using that as a learning opportunity as well? Like
if he gets the tiniest doses of it, like, but we have to give it to him. But certainly, like, so it's another conversation of why Sam's on Instagram and our thoughts on social media, is that, Sam's on Instagram. He's like famous on Instagram. There's all these brands pay us to have him on there. Mm-hmm. But he sees his Instagram account maybe once every like 2 weeks, even though we make content with him, he doesn't really know what's in there. But
he's frankly like, not old enough to be on social media himself.
No,
I mean, it's crazy out there.
Right. That's way more dangerous than rock climbing.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are people out there that hate him, you know what I mean? And that like attack us, and I give him just the smallest doses of that. I let him know like the small doses of that, because I want him to know that there's bullies out there, that the world is hard, and that people are going to attack him as he does great things. But I need to do that carefully as he develops. And I'm definitely sheltering him from the majority of it, but I have to give some of that to him. And it's a conversation me and Ann talk about. Like, what do we tell him? What do we show him? Mm-hmm. How do we talk? And then how does he deal with that without becoming bitter himself or becoming a bully himself? Yeah. Because he's going to have to deal with kids his age who aren't where he is intellectually, physically, even emotional maturity at his level. Like you said, you have to start at 6, teaching him these things that most kids don't even understand or are able to develop into until they're much, much older. So the level of emotional maturity. Has he ever had like a total breakdown, just like turned into a total thumb-sucking kid on a stint at all ever? Oh yeah, I've like footage of it. I published it. Yeah. Oh. He's published it. Totally. Man. Dad. That's why people are calling CPS on me. Oh. And so absolutely. But it's so important that like we're thinking intentionally about developing our kids. That's what me and Ann want to do. We want to see him, really thrive. And the armor for that stage of like facing the bullies out there and all that is humility. It's like that is the stage that we are going into. That is the reason we turned around on the Matterhorn, is because this next stage is about him learning that respect of the mountain and respect of really what honestly this is how I define humility. Humility is not shrinking yourself to less than you are. Humility is standing in your greatest stature, in your most powerful state, and realizing the smallness of your greatness. That's what that's good. And mountains do that. Mountains do this to you. And it's like when you respect them, you realize it's like I am really, really strong to be able to do this. And then you realize how massive this thing is, and that this mountain could shake me off like a gnat. Like a little ant. Yeah. Yeah. Like you're standing before God. It's like in the literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Any absolute positive no-go, just nope, not going to do it, even if the kids really, really hop up and down and want to do it.
Soloing. We don't solo anything.
Good answer.
In fact,
Okay.
there's a number of movies about soloing, and Sam has a teacher at school that keeps talking to him about these climbing movies. And I'm like, what is this teacher doing? Like, stop talking to my kids about these like horrendous climbing movies I don't want my kids watching. Like, it's like that in our house, that's like our kids watching porn. Like, it's like it is not okay for my kids to watch anything with solo. Whenever we see someone
opening scene with Sylvester Stallone and the woman falling, you know, that's what people automatically.
I would never show them that either. That's so stupid.
No,
that is not even climbing.
Yeah, that's fiction.
That's like making Jacques Cousteau watch Jaws over and over again. I mean, what's the point?
but like we see it all. We see people soloing at these cliffs, and like, and there's one cliff that this guy climbs up over, and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, what's up?" And that guy knew who Sam was, and I said, "Just so you know, when you leave here, I'm going to tell him you're the dumbest person here." So, because I don't want him to ever think it's cool to do this to solo, you know.
Yeah.
And so we make fun of anybody that thinks it's okay to solo, just because I want to ingrain it young into my kids that this is not acceptable. Like, respect your life. Like, it's
And plus, I mean, teamwork is important.
1 second, you're dead.
Yeah.
You know? And so
why don't trust yourself? Exactly. It's like whenever I have an author tell me I edited the book myself, I'm like, are you stupid? I don't care if you're a professional editor, you don't edit your own stuff. You know, it's kind of the same thing, because you know you're going to miss something because you're too close to it. You need the outside. And this is also a very important life lesson outside of climbing, is know when to ask for help, know when to accept help, know how to, like Jim said, play well with teams. I mean, those are all life-giving skills that will make you a more successful human being throughout. So I love how you just get all of this into this activity, and the way you're doing it is so thoughtful. It's very impressive. I'm going to leave it on that because I don't want to blow too much smoke up your tutu. I want to give you a chance to let everybody know again where you can find Sam and his antics. You said mainly on the Insta. And
Instagram and Facebook. Look up Sam Adventure or Samuel Adventure. You'll find him. And he is also on SamuelAdventure.com.
Okay.
So, actually, I think it's SamAdventure.com. One of the two.
Okay. Well, Joe, you've been a genuine pleasure.
Yeah,
I
it's been great.
And pray that Sam has many more adventures ahead of him, as well as the other two boys. Congratulations. Do you have a name for the new one?
I do, but you know, I've heard it from the Lord, but Anne hasn't yet. So she's not there yet. So we've got to.
You're going to hold back.
That out. So
all right.
Can't say it yet.
Okay, awesome. Well, congratulations on the upcoming child. When is he due?
December 9th.
Okay, and you're going to get him on a mountain December 15th?
I don't know. I think with now that we have 3 other ones, I think this one will be sheltered a little longer. But yeah, we'll have him in a mountain.
He's going to be the worst of all then. He's going to be the one standing in the bathtub holding the toaster. Come on, Dad, let me on a mountain. Yeah.
His first mountain that he'll ascend will be at 5. So every boy that's been this journey. It starts at 5. So
starts at 5. Do you think you'll ever have like a team where you have all the kids on the rope going?
We did the summer. When Joey climbed Pingora, I had Sam lead the pitch, and then I led it alongside him. And then Joey and Sylvan came up on ropes, and Sylvan kind of coached Joey along. And me and Anne were there to like chaperone. We built our own climbing system to follow them. And so Anne was always on the ledge with Sylvan and Joey, and I was always up leading alongside Sam. And so it's like we had the whole family moving up the wall this summer. And some beautiful pictures of that. I'll send them to you if you.
I would love that.
Are you gonna put pictures and video in any of this, like over this?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna have a video going on the side, and pictures as we talk about it. I do spend quite a bit of time. I don't try to edit the actual interview itself, so it's got the flow, and people don't think we're saying stuff offline and whatnot, unless it's something really stupid like blowing your nose or swearing or something. But I do edit it for, it looks nice and has videos and whatnot going on the side. And you'll
be pleased.
To watch out for all the because YouTube despises us because our politics don't lean in the direction that they're supposed to. So we get most of our love on BitChute and locals and things like that. So do not be unimpressed by what happens on YouTube, because not a lot happens there. They actually started unsubscribing, and they went back 2 and 3 years to start giving us strikes on stuff that we got. I think my favorite was we got a hard strike on our channel where we weren't allowed to post for weeks. Lost a whole bunch of subscribers, like hundreds, like we were hemorrhaging, for medical misinformation related to COVID, because we read from the CDC website. And they went back 2 years to find that. And yeah, at this point, what was on the CDC website is misinformation because they got it wrong. That was kind of the point. But yeah, so they've been really, and they've been copywriting everything. I mean, I actually sang a couple lines from a song and we got copyrighted for that. It's like you can't copyright me singing. Yeah, it's gotten out of hand. Way. So don't be YouTube, not the best place, but we'll probably throw it up on Insta in celebration of Sam, because I'm kind of learning my way around there. But it does go up on locals, and the audio version of it will go on everywhere, iHeartRadio, iTunes, the whole bit, Spotify. And then the video versions are, of course, on our website and Rumble and BitChute. And it's funny because BitChute's where we get the most love, like globally. And we have people in India watching it there. So, but we still throw it out. I still put everything on YouTube just out of spite.
Well, one thing I ask, if your listeners have been through all of that and they still stuck around, if they follow Sam, I'd love it if they would respond to some of the helicopter head popping Karens out there that get all upset about whatever we're doing. I'd love if some of your followers wanted to follow up with some of them.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you look into the camera and give us the message, and I'll make sure I edit that in.
Yeah, to all the followers out there, there's quite a few Karens out there that are responding to our content and telling us that it's way too dangerous, and maybe our kids should be taken away. And so I'd love it if you guys responded to them.
I have an idea. Let's take all these helicopter moms and have them man the drones so that they can video your ascents. Give them a job. Give them something to do.
Keep them occupied.
Yeah.
It's been a genuine pleasure talking
Yeah, Joe,
to
this was a lot of fun. And we, of course, want you back on when the new one comes. We will celebrate with you. And for your next endeavor, we would love to hear more. We will selfishly, what's the word I'm looking for?
We will selflessly give
not
you.
Selflessly. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Well,
we will shamelessly plug your next endeavor. I have a feeling there's going to be some books or something on the way out of Sam. I see big things coming from that kiddo, and I'm sure his brothers will be right in his footsteps. So I'm pretty sure there'll be more for us to shamelessly plug in the future. So are you going to take some downtime after the new one's born?
Probably a little bit. I have another really big climb in October with Sylvan, and so that's kind of like trying to get that through that, and then I'll have some downtime till.
Well, okay. When you take one kid and the other stays home, does the kid at home get antsy at all? Do you think?
Oh yeah, and jealous. Yeah. I mean, that's part of parenting too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
Like, I'll have Sylvan, my middle child, for 7 days, just me and him, one-on-one. And when I took Sam up the Matterhorn, it was 10 days of just me and him. And it's like, man, that's the best stuff on earth.
Okay. Well, hopefully they don't get so jealous that they start shoving each other off mountains, because
yeah,
keep that. Let them duke it out on land. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And with that many boys, I'm sure there's a lot of
a little bit of rivalry.
I just can't sing the praises of Mom enough. Anne has got to be just almost a god in the way she handles this. So yeah,
it's definitely hard on her, and that shows too her level of, like, not only is she supportive of it, she is encouraging of it. She loves what she sees in the boys in it, and I think, like, this would not be possible if I had another wife. Like, if Anne was not on board, it would not, kind of parenting we did would not be possible.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and that
I
your
think a
your
lot of women
partners, that your
do
partners in
not
it.
let their husband kind of go out and be a man with the kids. Like,
and we need men. So thank you for bringing some real men into the world, and hopefully there's somebody out there bringing up some real women, and the two strong individuals will eventually meet and make more. So let's
yeah. How are we gonna find them?
They're out there. They're out there. They are out there. So, all right. Well, congratulations again. We're old geezers. I raised my brother and sister, so I did it all. I just had no desire, and he didn't find me until we were both past the age of being able to do that. So, no actual children that were really, really mine, but my brother is 17 years younger than me. So I did everything from colicky baby, diaper changes, all the way up. My mom actually had a gallbladder attack while she was having the cesarean to have him because she was 36. And back then, people that old didn't really have kids. So she was in the hospital for quite a while. I'm 17 and I have, my stepdad is pretty young. He's only 6 years older than me. So he had just started a job at Boeing and you don't mess with that. So I actually had to take time off of school to raise my 10-year-old sister, my newborn brother. And once mom was out of the hospital and everything, then I had to take care of her too. And once all that was done, I was out of there. It's like, I'm done. Yeah. So I don't have regrets, but I would have been an awesome mom. And to this day, I mean, Paul's a 30 some odd year old man and he still calls me mom. I mean, Melanie. So, and mom's been gone for a long time now. So I feel like I paid my dues. I didn't have no 5 boys, but I feel like I paid my dues. And my sister, I even sewed her prom dress. I actually sewed her prom dress and it, no small feat. She wanted the same dress as Cinderella from the cartoon. It's like, you realize that's a cartoon, right? You can't actually make that dress. So I had to hodgepodge like 5 different patterns together and then use that god awful blue satiny stuff that's really hard to sew because it frays and then kind of make it up as I went along. And so, yeah, I paid my dues. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I do talk about my kids, but that's because I teach, and every single one of my kids are, I have kids that I've been tutoring since they were in 4th grade and they're now in high school, and I've seen the way they go. And I know I have just a tiny, small part of their life, but I hope that I influence it in such, I'm not afraid to talk about my faith. I will pray with or for my kids anytime they need it. And, sometimes they'll ask me questions. Sometimes a tutoring session will be just talking about, how a kid got bullied and what to do, or, decisions they need to make or things like that. And I'm there for them. I'll do it. And I don't care what the parents say, but I'm always, and that's something I always let my kids know is, I'll talk to your parents. I'm here because of your parents. Your parents pay me to be here. But I'm always on your side first, and I will go to bat for you. And I don't, trust me, I will mama bear for you. I have called principals. I have talked to teachers. I've gotten my foot in, stuck in my mouth a couple of times, just being, okay, what is going on here? Because, they're little liars. Some of them, they'll tell some, dog-ate stories, but you got to be able to discern that as well. I'm sure your kids are absolutely 100% honest all the time and have never told you a whopper and have never even considered the possibility of telling you an untruth. I'm positive with that many boys in the house that you 100% trust everything they say at all times. Yeah. You're almost crying, a little tear just drips down. Yeah.
Yeah, we deal with a lot of that.
Yeah. And blaming each other, I'm sure that's like a national sport when it comes to brothers is, oh, he did it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's awesome when they get along, but they often don't.
What is discipline like in this house? Because I mean, there's nothing you can threaten these kids with that they'd be afraid of. I mean,
yeah, like we do paddle our boys, but not often. It's like that's at the top of the threat ladder.
Yeah, you probably don't need to. Yeah.
So, But I will tell you one thing. They're the most behaved when we're climbing. It's just something kicks in, and it also entertains them in a way that they're not, irritating each other in the same way they do at our house.
Yeah.
So
I probably won't put
that.
any of the stuff about paddling or anything like that. I'm probably not going to put on the thing, but I could just see a Karen watching.
This is all supplementary material.
Yeah. But no, most of what we just been talking about is going to be offline. But
is that illegal? You're not allowed to paddle a boy anymore?
Yeah,
I just don't even know anymore.
It's hard to say. I think it depends on what street you live on anymore.
I grew up in a different time. Probably not. I don't think
only on
you're
St.
even.
Patrick's Day.
Are you kidding? In Canada, you can't even call them the wrong pronoun. They'll take them away. And in California, if they want to yank body parts off, and you're like, no, they will take your kids away. So, I'm sure paddling's off the table. But don't even get me started in that.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Now you know why we're not on YouTube. We talk about this stuff, and I don't hold back. So, it's just really refreshing to talk to a parent that actually parents the kids, because that's my biggest disdain right now. Is I had a run in just the other day at the grocery store. The kid just running around and it slammed my cart into me, called me a name that I can't even repeat. And I went to the mom. I said, "Did you know that your son just is throwing things at people and called me this word?" And she got all upset. "How dare you tell me how to parent, blah, blah." I'm like, "Honey, I'm not telling you how. I'm telling you to parent your child." Yeah. And she wanted to take it out in the bag. It's like, okay, well, I can see where this brat got his attitude. They're so self-involved. They're so narcissistic. Why are you having children? Because you cannot be narcissistic and be a parent. Once you have a kid, game over. It's not about you anymore. And not very many parents realize that. They think, oh, I'm going to have this kid and I'm going to get all this attention and it's going to be all about. No. Once you have a child, your life is now for that child. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it's meant to be. And if you're so narcissistic that you cannot handle that, then for God's sake, don't breed. And, I know you get a lot of attention because you're in this, but you're not getting it for the glory of Joe. Hopefully you're getting it for the glory of God. But I've noticed that it's Sam's face that you put out there. It's Sam's work that you talk about. It's Sam's successes that you celebrate, not Joe's. And I know you've had a lot.
I'm glad you can see that, because that's another really sore piece of this. People are saying you're just trying to get famous off your kid, and I'm like, no, I'm actually building a brand for each of my sons, a brand that's going to last for them. And we're moving into an age where the most powerful thing you can have is a brand. The most powerful thing you can have is a name.
Absolutely.
And
very, very, very wise.
And it's like Sam's experience on social media is going to be 100% different than all of his friends on social media. Sure. He is going to, when it's time for him to join social media, he's going to understand, oh yeah, this is where my sponsors pay me. This is like, you know what I mean? Different. I'm not going to put up a bunch of like dumb pictures of me partying on this app. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to have a completely different philosophy and understanding and experience than the kids who are just like trying to, chat with girls on social media. Like, and that's what we're developing. Like, it's like we see social media as part of the world that we have to exist in, and we want our kids to appropriately be on there, but also try to guard and protect them at the same time. And so it's very unique kind of thoughts, because we also live in a Christian culture that is like, can't believe your kid is on social media. And I'm like, well, he's actually kind of not. He's not up
at 3 o'clock in the morning talking to the guy, DMing him. And no. Are you going to keep him off of TikTok?
We're actually going on TikTok now. We've gone back and forth, and I have an assistant that's going to run that account, and it's just he's not going to know he's on TikTok. And so I mean, we have to be on these platforms. Like, it's just, that's where the people are. You want to reach people. Sure. You guys should be on TikTok. Like, you want to, you just have to. I want to go on TikTok. I don't want to be owned by China. You just don't want to be scrolling for hours on dumb stuff. Like, that's what eats your life. Right. Like,
I have a friend who is addicted to it, and she just sends me texts all day long. of all
She
these
probably
different
sent you one or
TikToks.
two while we were on this interview.
Yeah, literally just seriously, she just sent me a couple just now, and I don't have TikTok. I don't even open them. So I just, and so the other day I sent her a link for a recipe, and you're going to love this. She replies, "Oh, I don't have Facebook."
Yeah.
Okay, I send you one link like a month, and that's your response. You send me like 97. I've told her I don't have TikToks, and she still sent them to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I would put up there, like snippets of our show. I'm not even sure how it works. So
No, maybe
that's the one place, because I do everything else. I do all of our branding, all of our graphics, our audio. I do everything. He's just the talent. He just shows up and looks pretty. But I do all the stuff in the background, all the marketing, everything, which is probably why we're not successful. So I should probably take you aside. Hey, you agreed way too easily.
Well, nowadays, 100,000 followers on one of these platforms is worth more than a PhD, at least for the value of what that means for the person's life. Like, it's like, and somehow there's a lot of people in the church that just have not comprehended that. You know, it's like, imagine where you guys would be if you got out of high school, you had hundreds of thousands of followers.
Right.
Like,
and for the right reasons, you know, I don't want to be like the OnlyFans route. And I'm so sad for these young girls that they think that that's the way to do it. It's such a short-lived, demeaning way. It's just, there's no amount of money that's worth that to me. And I just, it really breaks my heart to see that becoming just mainstream, just being, oh yeah. And you're just supposed to accept it. That breaks my heart. So
yeah. How is that legal?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's legal, but they're going to censor you for saying something that's controversial.
Yeah.
Like, how is that should not be legal.
Yeah. It's we've got our society's gotten their priorities completely out of whack, and I'm really hoping that we're going to see one last rally before the end days, that, you know, a little bit of human decency comes back for a bit. But I don't want to wallow too much in, I mean, everybody's been saying we're in the end days since, you know, Jesus walked the earth, but so. I don't know. A lot of those signs are there. I'm telling you.
It's not on our schedule. It's definitely on our Lord's.
Yeah. So we just got to walk in faith. You know, I was really thinking of that verse about thy word is a lamp unto my feet. We just had a story about that in our church service last week. And I never understood what the significance of that verse was, because we think of a flashlight and we think like a gajillion gigawatts lighting up the entire forest. But back then, all they had were those little handheld oil lamps, and you literally could only see one step in front of you. And with me right now, the way our life is going, I'm not only barefoot, but there's Legos being thrown in front of me as I'm trying to walk with this one step thing. But you just expressed that kind of faith in that night climb that you had to do with your little boy. I mean, he's still your child. And here you are on this sheer face, and you've got that lamp that you can only see the next step, and you're still doing it. And I can't even imagine the type of faith. And I mean, we talk about fear, we talk about being bold, and we talk about overcoming that and being brave, but there is a tremendous amount of faith that you would have had to have in that moment. And that little boy, you know, not just freezing and just say, Dad, can we just sleep? Can we just wait? I mean, did he try to do that at all? Or was he just like, yeah, let's do this?
He was definitely not, let's just do this. He was, I could tell he was mustering it, you know, but we, you know, when you talk about faith, you have faith in your father, you know, and it's like, that's what he was learning. He was looking at me. He's looking at me saying, you know, are we okay? Are we going to be okay? And I say, Sam, we're going to be okay. It's going to be cold. It's going to be hard, and it's going to be scary, but you got this, buddy. Like keep moving. We got to get to camp. We're not that far away. Like, it's a little bit more, just push. And when we got to camp, we opened up the portal edge instantly. He didn't even get in the sleeping bag. He was asleep. Like, he was just
baby.
out. Yeah. I had to stuff him in the sleeping bag.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. Well, that's a good place to leave folks, is, you know, look to your Father, and we have our earthly Father and we have our heavenly Father, and hopefully he sees one in your eyes, and he sees, I'm sure you see one in his eyes. So good parenting. I appreciate you coming on, and thank you so much
Genuine
for sharing some
fun.
intimate moments
great.
with us about your boys. And I hope to hear a lot more from you. You are welcome back on our show any old time. And like I said, we will shamelessly plug your next endeavor. Congratulations on the new baby coming up in December. Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And so we, like I
All
said, we'll have all these links and everything and video for everybody to see, and check him out on Insta at Samuel
Adventure.
Yes.
Samuel
I
Adventure.
almost said Samuel Danger. Sammy Danger. He's a badge. Samuel Adventure. And I guess he'll be on TikTok too soon. So look for him there. All right. Well, thank you so much. And you have an amazing rest of your weekend.
All right. Catch you later.
All right. Bye.